why I don't normally care about these kinds of things where, you know, I worry about how I look on these videos. If I get myself all pretty, it's too distracting. How's anybody supposed to concentrate on my video when they got this? That's the thing the kids do, right? You see the new stuff where Trump is mad because of the ceasefire. Like, Trump's mad at Israel and Iran because of the ceasefire tensions and all this other bullshit. God, it's also so fake and stupid. It really is crazy. Really. Fuck, man. There have been a few things lately that I wanted to talk about. What was that? Oh yeah, Nygestein fortress in Saxony, Germany. Machu Picchu, David Cole. Yeah, there was a few things I wanted to talk about. But Nygestein fortress in Saxony, Germany, ranks among Europe's largest hilltop fortifications, standing 240 meters above the Elbe River. With a history that spans over 750 years, it transitioned from a medieval castle to a state prison and military fortress, reflecting various architectural styles. From Gothic to Renaissance, its strategic location made it an unassailable stronghold, ensuring it was never conquered. Today, it attracts tourists for its stunning views and rich military history. One of those buildings that shouldn't exist by what we're told. How did they do it? How did those nothing people do that shit? Always a great question. Never really answered. Because I know how much you love that. Let's see what the news says today. Who gives a fuck who you are? You're a dumb clown. And I'm sure you're Mr. Krabs. So who gives a fuck? You want to matter way more than you do. All you do is prove the point. But you know what? Let's just do it. Why not? You're a piece of shit, so let's get rid of you. I don't let pedophiles do their thing on my page. And the Mackenzie profile is an absolute pedophile. I really don't think people understand just how big that shit is. Trump rebukes ceasefire violations. Israel, Iran ceasefire holds, offering hope, but also uncertainty. Isn't it interesting how there's no talk of Gaza? Oh, here we go. Israel-Iran truce holds. Israel forces kill 41 in Gaza. While the Iran thing holds. I mean, when it comes to the Iran thing, To me, it's my biggest question is like, where have you been? You know, where has Iran been when it comes to the Palestinians? Where are all of the Muslim countries when it comes to the Palestinians? Iran may halt IAEA ties after Israel assault kills 51 in Gaza. These are just the most murderous psychopaths ever. Iran's parliament passes bill to suspend cooperation with UN's IAEA, which still needs approval from National Security Council as Israel's assault on Gaza continues, killing at least 51 people today. I mean, if they're saying it's 51, I mean, it's safe to probably double it, right? U.S. President douchebag Trump says ceasefire between Israel and Iran announced yesterday is going very well, as White House rejects intelligence reports saying U.S. bombings did not destroy Iran's nuclear sites, only set program back by months. Oh, so now we're going to go back to that thing where they're months away. They're months away. I've seen stuff that says that they didn't hit shit. Iran knew what was coming, and they moved everything to their deep underground bases. But this Iran thing it's been disappointing for one, I really hoped if Iran did get involved, they'd kick the shit out of them, but they haven't. They have proven that the Iron Dome is fake. But when it comes to, this bullshit with Iran, I mean, Iran is I think the biggest disappointment is actually Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia being the big holdout during the Abraham Accords, only to, literally be silent. Like, I haven't heard a fucking thing from Saudi Arabia in the last 600 plus days. Where's the help? Where's the aid? Especially considering Israel is the enemy of everybody, especially in that region. I don't know. I mean, maybe the system is realizing how little support they actually do have, so they're trying to pull it back. So we think it's not as bad as it. I don't know. It's not too bright. I'm sorry for wasting my time, says little Jim. Right? I love when I'm so stupid you can't argue against anything I'm saying, so you run away like a coward. That's one of my favorites. You don't have any reasonable arguments or anything even reasonable to say, so you just like, hey, I need some attention real quick, and then I'm out. Good job, little Jim. I don't like when people read news. Why are you reading the news? I can't even read. That's what it seems like. Oh, look, some dumb white broad. Oh, it's a dumb white broad of all things, too. God, you have to love it. Female Trump supporters. It's like black Christians. I just don't understand it. Female Trump supporters. What as a female do you support about? Well, there's really no point in asking. There's no point in asking a Trump supporter why they support Trump, because they're too stupid. They don't have anything to say. It doesn't matter who is president as long as Israel exists. Exactly. I mean, that's the truth. That's who controls our country. Look at the dumb broad said, "Oh, you're YOUR a simp guy." She's obviously really smart. Obviously really, really smart. When you can't even bother to get your yours correct, you make this way easier for me than it should be. But that's the type of stupid you would expect would be a Trump supporter, right? A female Trump supporter. No problem, Michael. God, Savannah Sherry should really quit talking. Get back to posting dumb YouTube videos. Or TikTok or Instagram videos. Dumb girls are weird to me, man. Dumb girls really make intelligent females look stupid. You know, they really push that inferior, dumb female narrative, and it's embarrassing. Let's see. I don't post it, actually. I don't even have Instagram. Or the ability to spell correctly, right? You're a dummy. And I just, you know, like I say, I seriously, I don't even know why I bother asking Trump supporters why they support Trump anymore. Because they don't even know. They won't even acknowledge, you know, their racism, their bigotry, usually when it's a dude, at least it's sexism, but this broad's stupid. You will never a female, so good luck to that. Well, you will never a female, so good luck to that. I will never a female. God, I love stupid people, man. They make this so easy. You will never a female. Gotcha. They hate that you are intelligent and can back up your truth with studied evidence. Of course. It's a threat. That's what the threat is. I think some of these profiles are real. I think the majority are bots, no doubt. But like this one is probably a real person. She's dumb enough to be a real person. Maybe. I mean, the bots are pretty stupid, but this is a good thing. Yeah. We have another. So again, it's funny, this whole Trump derangement syndrome thing. Like, you just repeat what you're told. You probably think the deep state. It's not Trump and the people that you can see. It's the deep state. You guys are hilarious. I have the best life with Trump. Isn't it funny that you can't actually give any like evidence of it? You can't give any evidence, right? I have the best life. Do you? How about that first time around? Did you like when you got locked down? Was that fun? I bet that was fun for you, didn't you? Didn't you like that? Didn't you like that? I mean, like I say, I appreciate their ramblings because they really do prove the point. All they'd have to do is come in here and make some reasonable comments, but they can't. Trump is an actor simply playing a part for the Israel show. Very true. Dumb enough to be a real person is crazy. It's true. I didn't stay locked down, and I wore no mask and never got sick. So then you didn't like Trump for that, huh? Because that was Trump, right? You do realize that, right? Like, are you that stupid that you've forgotten that it was Trump that locked you down? Are you really that stupid? Are you that stupid that you forgot that it was Trump that did the whole COVID bullshit? That was all your buddy Trump. Life was so good back then. And I guess you're one of these people that is very selfish, right? Because as long as you're okay, or at least you perceive yourself to be okay, who cares what else is happening? What do you care that billions and billions of dollars have been funneled into Israel because of your boy? Who cares? She drank bleach. Yeah, or had it injected. Can't we just inject them with like bleach or some sort of light ray technology? So stupid. But see, again, you'll see it. Like, you notice how we keep pointing out things and they just go, no, I like it. I like it. I like it. I went places without a mask And I'm dumb because of Trump's stupidity. I also did not understand the sneeze and sneeze on others. That's gross. I mean, I wouldn't be a Democrat because of like one of the actors, you know. When they tell you we're going to slap you with the left hand or the right hand, you don't have to pick one. You could actually say, no, I'm not going to get slapped, thanks, and then don't get slapped. But they don't seem to understand that. And again, you have to love how they go. How they just ignore the whole Trump COVID stuff. You know how many people lost their livelihoods, lost their businesses, lost family members, you know, just lost in general because of Trump's COVID. And you guys just don't even care. It's so fucking silly. You were running and realized the same wing bird, the wing of the same, left and right of two wings of the same bird. Yes, I mean that's literally all. It's just a distraction. There's literally nothing legitimate about it. Republicans and Democrats and all. It's just stupid. It's how they get us with everything. They love giving us two choices for things. You Republican or Democrat? Are you religious or do you believe in science? Are you a man or a woman? Are you black or white? You Christian or Muslim? Which one is it? They love giving us that shit. And we're just so stupid, we fall for it all the time. Very short view of what I think. You said it, dude. Nobody's making assumptions. You literally said it. And we literally only know what we know about you by what you present. But you literally said it. No one's making assumptions. I love how the dumb clown keeps trying to focus on me. Can't talk about the actual issues going on. Can't talk about any of that shit, but it's me. Me. And they know everything about me. Fucking, it's so embarrassing, right? Because like you would think they would be able to have a better argument, but that's the realization that I've had to come to over the years, is that when you're telling the truth, when you're on the right side of things, there is no arguing what you're saying. There's no way you can argue with me that Israel is the good guy. There's no way that you can argue with me that, pedophilia is okay, that slavery is okay. There's literally nothing you can say, so you end up saying stupid shit because, I don't know, a lot of you are dumb bots, obviously. But the programs, it's just what it is. Sure, a bird had a head and legs. Them does not mean left or right, except for assumptions. What are you talking about? Like, again, you don't get to make those rules. You don't get to decide that like all you goofy Christians out there that are only Christians when you like it. Only like every female that's dumb enough to come on here and argue about Christianity with me just clearly doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. But like again, why would you associate with Democrat, with any of it? They provide it to you. Good morning. They provide it to you, so why would you believe it? Everything they do is just lies. All they do is lie. They lie, they work together behind the scenes. It's WWE. The older I've gotten, I used to be a big wrestling kid when I was a kid. I loved watching wrestling. Then when when WCW came around and the New World Order, I started watching it again. And then with my kids, I was watching it. So wrestling, you know, I've always been a fan of the spectacle. It's a soap opera for men, right? Explosions, hot chicks fighting. That's what we like. But as I've gotten older, the nerd in me likes watching shoot videos. They call them shoot videos, and that's where old wrestlers or old people in the business talk about what it was really like behind the scenes and how things actually work. And you realize that like every single thing, sans a few accidents that, you know, performance accidents or outside of the ring accidents that have to affect the story, it's all just manufactured down to a T. They know everything that's going on. They're all buddies. You know, they all go into the dressing room. They're all actors who have their dressing rooms, and, you know, they get paid to deceive us. And when it comes to the government and the show that we see from the government, it's literally the same, like the same thing. I'm saying literally way too much today, literally. God, I pray that my midlife crisis comes and it does not come in this flavor. Amen. This is how they do it, right? This is the best that you can come up with. The lies are toward one spectrum and based on individuals, not parties. What? People touting Bible verses can't think beyond anything. I mean, again, like most people don't even know the origins of the parties. Most people don't understand that Johnson was like, I'm gonna get these ing bombs voting Democrat, and then like it's all just a show. You know, and there were other parties that existed that got swallowed up, and you never heard of them. The Know Nothing parties, and you know, there's so much more to the situation than we think there is. Look, I have the same dumb clown that comes through here every day and says the same dumb, not Jesus nonsense, but then can't actually answer for anything, can't actually, you know, make good arguments, just says dumb shit. There's no such thing as God, by the way. That's just silly. Listen, it's not, you have to get past the belief, the show that Israel is the thing. Israel, as Lindsey Graham says, Israel, it's just the ever-expanding invisible house. It's literally nothing. It's an idea. It's a thing that's on paper that, you know, we're told exists, but Israel isn't anything. It's just a you know, an idea. The issue is the cult that the invisible house houses. This is the thing that like, and then you see this dumbass saying things like, God protected you, God, blah, blah. They're not in any sort of danger. They're the ones causing all the mayhem and turmoil. They're committing genocide right now. They're known for rape, child rape, not only of outside the cult, but very much inside the cult. Like, why would Christian God support that? And then that's that other part. Like, you Christians, don't you kind of think it's weird that a completely different religion that generally hates you, that thinks, you know, Jesus or Mary is boiling in a cauldron of boiling semen down in hell for all of eternity, and like all these crazy things, you think the group that killed your superhero, your Christian God only kid, that those are Christian God's favorite people. Zionism is just a cover, another cover word, just like Free Palestine is another cover word. It's something that we're allowed to say so we don't actually talk about the real problem. And, Zionism is exactly one of those things. See, I don't hate the bad guys. I just hate the Zionists. You're allowed to say that shit. And most of us have no idea what Zionism is, how it was founded, where it came from, what the foundations of it are, what make it, like, you don't know that shit. You've just been told that you're not allowed to hate the actual cult, but it's okay if you say you hate Zionism, so now you say I hate Zionism. When the reality is, they all believe that we are Goyim. And one of the foundations of their belief, the main book in their cult of many books and all sorts of obfuscation, have you looking this way, have you looking this way, blah, blah. But in the Talmud, which is their main book, it says once the Messiah returns, which they think is now, once the Messiah comes, that every single one of them will have 2,800 Gentile slaves. Just because they're nice to your face, just because they might say the right things with a camera in front of them, doesn't mean they don't subscribe to a very awful cult. Like, you can be a really good person without being a part of the cult. So why do you insist on being a part of a cult that is such an awful, awful thing if you really are that good of a person? Less than cattle, right? They it's not less than, it's that we are, we're no different. Anything that isn't them is considered Goyim. So the trees, the cars, the tables, the chairs, the dogs, the cats, the cattle, us, we're all in the same category. We're here for service. That's what we're here to do. And often the cattle reference is used, and when you think about how we as just humans view cattle, that's pretty scary, right? Because when cattle are little, nobody looks at a small cow and goes, oh, kill it, that thing's awful. Everybody that sees a baby cow is going to be like, oh my God, that's so cute, I just want to hold it, look at how cute that thing is. So you go from thinking something is adorable and you pet it and stuff, to then it gets bigger, and now you're gonna kill it. You're gonna eat its muscles and shit, eat its brain and head cheese, crush up its bones for all your different beauty products and shit like that, industrial products. Skin it, wear its skin, make couches, briefcases and shit out of its skin. Use its hooves for glue or whatever the fuck they use them for. Like every single thing that not a drop of it's wasted. They use the intestines for shit. I mean, it's disgusting. So when you understand that that's how they see us, that we are to be used to our very last grain, that's pretty crazy. Somebody goes, submarines are real. I've seen one. I mean, I've been inside one. That's completely different there. You should have started with that one. If you really want to have the submarine conversation, go watch the first 9 parts. Submarines aren't real, part 1 through 9. I think I debunk it pretty significantly, pretty substantially, so I'm not going to sit here and go through it. Obviously, if it took me 9 parts worth of research and all that shit, then doing it all right now is just foolish. But that's not what I want to talk about anyway. It's nonsense. I'm so mad. You don't think submarines are real? Oh my God, that makes me so mad. It's such a funny little thing. Who knew that I would accidentally come up with such a fucking fantastic troll? You know? Who knew that people would just lose their minds over my belief in submarines? What stupid shit is that? I'm sure you were in the 101st Submarine Division. Sure you were. But the narrative behind submarines is the same as all of them. When you look at who invented the nuclear submarine, they just decided they needed nuclear subs, so then they just made one. The guy's name was Rickover. His last name was Rickover. One word. Forget his first name. David, maybe, probably. But he's a chosen. He's a piece of shit chosen who, if you look at his story, it just doesn't make any sense. He was in multiple parts of the country, on the East Coast and the West Coast, at the same time in like the early 19s. How? What travel did we have that allowed for you to just hop all across, back and forth? But of course, it's a chosen who supposedly converted to Protestantism. Like, I've never heard of that shit before. You ever heard of a chosen converting to Protestant? It doesn't make any sense. That's not how their shit works. Here we go. Here comes more and more dumb stuff because they can't argue anything. If I do start talking about submarines, look at how stupid they are. They have no frame of reference. I start talking about who invented it, where it comes from, all that. They don't know. Duh, I never looked into it. I'm just saying it. And that's the point, man. So many of these troll profiles, these bots, are just surface bots, surface bullshit. How did in the early 50s, how did they just manufacture a nuclear reactor that could fit into a little submarine? Why don't we have it? That was in the 50s. Why haven't they been able to engineer them so now they're all in everyone's house? They've had 70 years since they first invented that shit. They haven't been able to refine that technology enough. I can absolutely assure you, says dumbass. Right, you can absolutely assure me. Well, we should take your word for it. You clearly know stuff. It's the same shit. It's the same system is behind, what's going on. And it's behind everything else. Yep, you know more than me. I'm sure you do. Funny how instead of just expressing that you know more by saying things, you have to tell everybody first. And you haven't actually said anything of merit. Right? Just ask yourself the most, common sense questions you have when it comes to whatever it is, especially submarines. And see if you can answer them. I keep telling all you guys, go take a 2-liter to the beach, put the cap on it, and see if you can swim it down to the bottom. Once the water is especially over your head, see if you can then push that 2-liter all the way down. I guarantee my 200 pounds will be held. I could put the 2-liter under me, and the 2-liter will hold me up. And that's only this much space. I mean, how about this? How about the fact that if you're in the water and you want to sink to the bottom of the pool or wherever you're in, you have to let your air out. That much air will keep your body floating. How much of a percentage of my body do you think that much air is? And yet you believe these things that are the size of 80 school buses full of air are able to just swim down, swim up, do all the pressure on the outside doesn't matter. It automatically adjusts on the inside. And the breath in your lungs will keep you floating. And you think all that space full of pressurized air can just sink as they want it to. Boy, are you stupid. Like, how can air pressure be released into the ocean floor without implosion? A real submarine is a mobile miniature nuclear bomb, basically. There you go. I mean, the real thing is, like, you just don't know any of it. I say this all the time. When it comes to what you personally know, it's right here, right now. What you can see in front of you, what you're experiencing is what you know. I have a wife and children. They're inside the house right now. I mean, I know they're there. I know, like, you know, whatever, but I don't know what they're doing. They could literally be doing anything. You know, my kid could be constructing a bomb under his bed. I don't fucking know. My wife could be on every Tinder dating site possible. I don't know. I know what she tells me. I know what exists in my peripheral and what I can see in front of me. But that's it. So when it comes to everything from submarines to space travel to bombs of some sort, any of that shit, you literally only know what they want you to know. Air days are filled to about 5 psi to push water. Yeah, this is what dumbass is just saying nonsense at this point. Never mind that your lungs full of air keep your 200, 300 pound body floating. Gotcha. How many pounds of psi does the human body have, though? Exactly. Exactly. Is enough air to keep my body floating. I can't even swim down. Like, I can push down to the bottom, but the only way I can actually get to the bottom is like, and the bubbles come out and then I sink. You could take a 2 liter a 2 liter, you can fill it halfway with water, put the top on, and it's not going to sink. And if it's got the PSI, it hasn't been cracked open yet, it can be filled to the top. It's still not going to sink. It's got to be 95% liquid at that point, and yet it still won't sink. Because of that little tiny space of air at the top and then the carbonation inside. Fucking silly. Not just the air, the pressure. Like, I don't know how many of you have ever swam down to the bottom, if you've had the luxury of swimming in like a really big, deep pool where it goes like 20 feet down or whatever. You swim down all the way to the bottom of that 20 feet and 12 feet. You swim to the bottom of the 12-foot deep pool and your ears hurt and shit. You get down around 20 feet, that feels like you're about to explode, implode, whatever. But look at how there's always a ton of submarine experts on here, and not one of them is an expert on we should stop the genocide. And not one of them actually answers any of the questions that get made, or that I ask. They want to talk about it, but then whenever something gets brought up, they just ignore it and move over, or move to the next dumb thing they're saying. But they're all really happy to talk about submarines, my belief in submarines, and then stroke each other over shit. But when it comes to genocide, when it comes to the cult and the slave, us being slaves and all these things, they don't like that shit. This guy does this every day. I love when they pretend like someone makes them watch my feed. Like, there's not thousands of other options they can pick from just on YouTube alone. Never mind Hulu or just the TV or any DVDs they may have or video games or anything like that. Facebooks and all that shit. Nope. They have to click on my feed and they have to come in and talk shit about, this guy thinks we should kill pedophiles. This guy thinks we should eliminate the cult. What's wrong with him? Funny how that works. Poor. You just put the your in the wrong spot, dude. I hate to do that to somebody on the side, good side, but I know you don't agree with me on the subs because you've never looked into it. It's okay. You didn't start off believing that you know. I mean, I don't know where you are in the Earth shape thing, but you didn't start out believing that the chosen were the bad guys. You were told your whole life that you're not even allowed to talk about them, let alone whether they're the good or the bad guys. If you're my age, the only time you were allowed to talk about them was during the month-long history lesson that we used to get every year, where they instilled in us how much they're the victims and, you know, they're so much better and all this other shit. If you know, I don't know how many of you still believe in space travel, but it's another one of those stupid things. Right? But it's even funnier because when it comes to space travel, we can't travel through space. We can barely fly planes and shit. Do you honestly think we can fly planes underwater? Because that's basically what you're talking about. And unlike the air pressure, you know, you go 50, 60, 70, 100 feet down, that shit is trying to crush the fuck out of you. That's billions of pounds of water trying to crush the fuck out of you. Oh, I have a big pair. Sure you do. Look at how dumb this is. Look at how desperate this whole thing is. Oh, yep. Doofus says he worked on a submarine. Sure he did. I bet you did. Did you work on the machine? You know, so in order to run the nuclear reactor that's in the sub, they have to desalinate the ocean water. So first they have their desalination machine that takes the salt out of the water. Then they run that water through that's how they keep their machines running. But once they desalinate the water, supposedly they run an electrical current through the water, which then separates the oxygen molecules from the hydrogen molecules, you know, H2O. So for every 2 hydrogen molecules, there's 1 oxygen molecule. So they run the electrical current through the water, and that somehow separates the two. And then they have a oxygen collecting machine that collects the oxygen somehow. And then what? They just dump a bunch of hydrogen into the fucking ocean? Is that how that works? Like, they make it sound real technical and shit, so it's like, oh, it's probably above my pay grade. But just think about it. What the fuck sense does that make? How come we know the recipe for for water, but we can't make it? You know, how come they can't have make a room into a vacuum, pump everything out of it, and then put 1 part oxygen in there and 2 parts hydrogen and just make a bunch of water? It's fucking stupid. Sure, they have boats. Sure, they have boats that can go under the surface of the water, no doubt. But do they have nuclear submarines the size of 80 school buses that can go 300 meters below the surface and stay down there for 6 months? No. That's fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid. And if you want to really prove it to yourself, just go try to find underwater submarine footage. See if you can find any. I know of 2 videos that'll pop up. One is clearly a model. It's fucking stupid. The camera's like right here, and the submarine comes. It's fucking stupid. It's clearly a model. Like, you can see the reflection off the top of the water and shit. The other one is some supposed scuba divers who were looking down as one of the glass bottom boat kind of subs went beneath them. Supposedly. I think the most damning thing when it comes to submarines, though, is the footage that's supposedly inside the submarine, where they show like the you know, the officers, the naval grunts, whatever the fuck you want to call them, working and living inside the submarine. And for some reason, they're not affected by movement at all. They're never like, whoa, whoa. You know, like if you've ever been on a plane, a train, a boat, in a car, you know that you feel every single little movement that you know, that's not going with the flow. And even like if you're in a plane and you're at cruising speed, if you get up to walk to go to the bathroom, it feels weird. It doesn't feel right. And the slightest little, you know, turbulence or whatever is going to, whoa, it's going to make you feel it. My favorite submarine video is one where the submarine, they show, so the main view is the cockpit, the what's it called, the nest, whatever it is. So below the thing that sticks up is where the like, not all the way down, but in between the long part and the top part, there's a little space. That's supposedly the control room. So the video shows, you know, it's the control room, and there's like 8 people in it. For some reason, there's like 8 guys standing in this shot. And then down at the bottom, the little picture-in-picture screen shows an Atari-style animation that supposedly shows that the submarine is 100 feet below the surface, and they're going to ascend and break through the 3, 4, 5 foot thick ice at the top. So they show the animation as they start to ascend, and they're going at about 10 feet per second. And just before they hit the ice, they go, okay, brace for impact, and then they break through the ice. The best part is, not one of the people in the cockpit goes, whoa, whoa. They just crashed through at least 3 or 4 foot thick ice, supposedly. And it didn't affect anybody to even slightly. There are like 4 guys standing up. There's a few guys at the controls. Not one of them was even slightly disturbed by ascending 10 feet per second and then crashing through the ice. And if you go look up submarines, you know, crashing through the ice, every single video starts with the top part already showing. The top part's already been cut out. And really, how did they get a cameraman there in the first place? They had to let him out. But like this is just a really, really common sense thought process. This isn't even something that's up for debate. If you're crashing through something, if you're in a vehicle that is going to crash through a wall, basically, you're going to feel it. You're going to be affected by the impact and all that shit. And yet, nope. And you're too dumb to actually, you know, make it a reasonable comment in response to it. So you're just going to say stupid shit. Right? Look at all these dumbass comments. And it comes from Levi. Gee, I wonder who Levi is. Have you seen what these settlers look like? Have you seen these ugly little trolls? They're just disgusting, awful, clearly inferior people. Why do you think they all wear glasses? You know, whether people that like it or not, whether people like it or not, when you wear glasses, you're inferior. I know as I've gotten older, I now need glasses to see even half as good as I used to see. My eyes are inferior to what they used to be. These inbred fucking trolls, they all wear glasses because they're inferior. If you're not above 5'7", I don't trust you. If you're a dude, it's really like, if you're a dude and you're shorter than 5'7", I've experienced it my whole life. I don't know a whole bunch of dudes that are really short, that are just these cool guys, and they never, they never have any issues. They don't have the Napoleon complex that I supposedly have. Look at this dumbass. Let's see a 40-yard dash, chubby. Yes, look at how chubby I am. Yo, I'm a big fat guy. Look at that, big fat guy. This is one of these trolls. This is how they operate. They're only tough behind a keyboard. They're only tough if there's an IDF soldier standing behind them with a gun. Or the victim is a woman. These are the people committing genocide right now. This is the cult that is killing children right now. Right now. Right? They're fucking idiots. And you see it in like, I'm telling you, somebody suggests the video to me that I should watch where one of them destroys a Gentile in an argument, in a debate. I mean, show me a fucking video where one of them actually makes an argument other than, well, it's with God, chosen people. And because God said so, then that's the reason, because God. Like, it's just such dumb nonsense. Right? Look, it's so stupid. You need Jesus. So stupid. It's so funny how like obsessed these people are over me, and they don't realize it. Come, I'll fly you. I'll pay to fly you out to see me. Come on, man. Come on. I'll show you. I'll fly you out. Like, really? You're so dumb. You're so obsessed that that's what you want to do. Especially because we know you'd crumble. As soon as the actual, confrontation took place, you'd crumble. But I'm sitting here like, let's talk about the genocide that's happening. Let's talk about the worldwide situation. Let's talk about much bigger problems. I even talked about submarines today a little bit. And you're like, no, I want to talk about you. I like you. I want to talk about you. Fucking stupid, man. I'm stating facts. Yep, there's a circle worn in the whatever it is that I'm walking in. That's a fact for sure. This whole area that I walk through, look at the big circle worn in it. Way to state the facts there, guy. You have the capacity to look up information about submarines. Right. Like again, I constantly say this, and it's funny. Such confident people aren't willing to prove it. Okay? Go watch the first part, the first 9 parts, where I go into it in-depthly, 9 days in a row, literally reading to you the narrative that we're supposed to have. And I debunk it, start to finish. And it starts with the 1620 submarine that was the first submarine, not the dumb shit you guys all think it is. But it's like these guys are like, oh, there's not a lot. So the only thing you watch on YouTube is live videos? Is that how that works? I'm sure there's plenty of videos that you watch on YouTube that are older videos and you comment on them. So why don't you, instead of staying here and trying to get me to talk about something that I've already thoroughly debunked, and I've talked about even too much for today, and just go watch the other video and debunk what I'm saying. It seems like that doesn't seem like it's such a difficult task, right? It seems like that would be pretty easy to do since I'm wrong and you're right and super smart and blah, 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 blah. But it just, they never take me up on it. Just like none of them ever take me up on the challenge to show that they're a real person. Make a video talking about how stupid I am because of submarines. Make your own debunk video. Make your own fucking live feed. Do whatever you need to do. But show that you're a real person. And, get some credibility. And I've been saying this for well over a year now, and none of these people fucking take me up on it. None of them are going to watch an old video and debunk it. None of them are going to prove that they're real. None of them are capable of staying on topic. Funny how that works, doesn't it? Look at these comments. I'm supposed to keep reading this. I'm in San Diego with access to Delta 3 class submarines. So you're telling me that it's not against military policy for you to go onto social media and not only identify exactly where you are, but what access you have to what military installations? That's just okay. That seems like a national security sort of risk, if you ask me. But it's the truth. Within 1 hour, the guy in San Diego, it'll be 10 o'clock here, so 7 o'clock there. He's just on this page mad and identifying himself and where he is and all that shit. Because that makes sense, right? The submarine guy doesn't have more to do. He's out there fighting for freedom by looking for people on YouTube that don't believe in submarines and then coming and talking shit. That makes sense? Doesn't that seem like that goes against protocol for him to, hey, I am this guy. I have access to this. My address is this and I live alone. What's up? Like, who said stupid? Yeah. And it's so funny to me that people always, instead of just making their points, just picking something and making a point as to why this is whatever, they always have to, they talk the nonsense. Well, I could make a whole bunch of points about this. Okay, so why don't you? Well, I could if I really wanted to, and I might. Okay, so do it. Make a point. Tell me about one thing that I'm getting wrong here. Well, I've been on a submarine. There was one in a harbor once, and I got to go on it. Did it take you down to the bottom of the ocean and do all that shit and stay under there for, long periods of time? No, it was docked. It was just like any other boat. And this is how this works time and time again. Look at how stupid this is. Yep, I'm scared. That's why I go live. Because I'm scared. I'm not hiding behind some fake profile with no subscribers and all this other shit. Yeah, no, I gotcha. You're real. You're a real person who identifies as a submarine guy and is mad. Has nothing to say about the genocide, though. Doesn't worry about the genocide happening right now. Doesn't worry about the slavery that we're all under. Doesn't worry about the pedophilia that runs rampant, especially in that community. Doesn't have work to do. As he's a submarine. He's at the submarine right now. And he's a submarine. He has access to the fucking silly. You think civilians can't take submarine rides on Soviet equipment? Yeah, I don't think so, no. I think you might be able to go on a boat that can go under the water a little bit. Or most of it goes under the water or whatever. But no, I don't think so. I think you're stupid. But see, like I say, I'm done with the submarine conversation. I've had it. I've already made a bunch of points here that people don't want to address. Like the simple fact that is enough air to hold my 200-pound body from sinking. But hey, let's keep arguing nonsense. I see, my thing is I love to give arguments that everybody can relate to. You don't have to trust, you don't have to have faith in some kind of bullshit. Just use your own common sense, your own experience. All of you have done the thing where you've tried to sink to the bottom of the pool, the bottom of the beach, whatever it is, and you can't do it until you expel the air in your lungs. How much of your body weight do you think that air is? What percentage of your body weight do you think that air is? And you think that big giant fucking submarines that are 90% air capacity, like the space that's used is mostly air, pressurized air at that. It's just stupid. Right? It's just a very simple thing, a very simple experiment. The 2-liter thing. Every single one of you can take a 2-liter down to the beach next time you go, or to the pool or whatever, and see if you can sink that motherfucker. It's pretty simple. It doesn't, you don't have to have faith in any sort of outside sources bullshit. Just do it yourself. Scuba diving is real. Is that just a lie too? No, scuba diving is real. But you have to have insane amounts of weight on you. And it doesn't last very long. But that's a completely different thing. When you're talking about a scuba diver, you're talking about their body weight plus the weighted jacket that they have, plus the weight of the tube, the scuba equipment. That's a lot. That's you're still only talking about maybe like 10% of the entire system is air. That's a whole different concept. You're talking about way more weight than air and space and all that shit. But see, this is how it works. See, I address the dumb things you guys bring up. That wasn't a dumb thing. I mean, I get it, but I address the things that get brought up. Nobody wants to address what I bring up. A 2-liter bottle doesn't allow outside water in. So again, you think that the ballast tanks that fill up to, that maybe fill up 5% of the entire space of the thing with water, that allows it to sink. Like I said, take an unopened 2-liter to the beach and throw it in the water. See if it sinks down to the bottom. That's mostly water or mostly liquid. That has a very small amount of air. That shit's still gonna float. It might sink a little bit below the surface, but it's still gonna float. But like they give you a reasonable argument, right? Like they sort of trick you, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, it takes in water. It takes in a very small amount of water. When you look at on the submarine design specs, the size of the ballast tanks, they make up such a small portion of that. And then you have to think, like, how does that even work? So they take in the ballast, they fill up the ballast tanks, and then what? They push water out as they need to go up and down? So they add air in and shit. Like, it's stupid. And then when you think about the regulation, the main, like, one of the main things is the pressure. The amount of weight coming from every side to crush this thing. It's so tremendous, and it changes. Every 10 feet, there's way more pressure than there was 10 feet above it. And you're telling me that the onboard computer systems know exactly how much pressure to have on the inside as the submarine maneuvers relatively fast to keep the thing from being crushed or exploding because there's too much pressure. I mean, I answered your question because you've been actually reasonable on here, but just look into it. Do you know that so the first submarine built in 1620 by a guy called Cornelius Drebbel, who is easily is, if you believe the narrative, one of the greatest men to ever exist, and yet none of you have heard about him. He could make it thunder and lightning on command, apparently. Not sure how we do that, but he invented the submarine in 1620. And the military powers that be didn't see any value in having a vessel that could travel underwater undetected with 16 people in it for 300 fucking yards or meters or like whatever it is. But then in 1850, there's a submarine that was supposedly made that could go as far as 150 feet down, stay underwater for 3 hours, and they could open a hatch on the bottom that would allow them to grab oysters and crabs and shit, to look for pearls. And the only reason it didn't work is because they supposedly didn't understand the bends, and every time they would come up, the people would get real sick, so they didn't understand it. So they just abandoned the ship out in the Bahamas or some shit like that. And that you literally have to believe that story. You have to believe that in 1850, they somehow had the technology to build something that could go 150 feet down with 3 people in it, I believe. Stay underwater for 3 hours, where they're getting this water, the air from. I believe it's connected supposedly to some sort of compressor that pumps air down. They don't really like to go into too much detail. But my question is always, how did they see? I would imagine it would be pretty fucking dark down there, and well, we didn't have lights, and it's not like they could light a candle or something without shit exploding. So how did they see in 1850 down at the bottom of the 150 feet deep water, and how did they open up the hatch? They had the pressure inside so perfect that they could open up the hatch and grab clams and shit with their hands. Are you fucking serious? You believe that shit? Can you imagine the first one to open that? Okay, let's open that hatch. Like, what do you, hell no, I'm not opening the hatch. No, trust me. There's the exact right amount of pressure here to keep the fucking water from coming in. And don't worry, the sub won't even move a little bit, because even if it tilted like a little bit and the water started coming in, it would just immediately fill up. And see, you'll love it because I'm actually addressing the submarine thing, and now everybody's saying other dumb shit. They're not addressing what's being said. And I can't really expect them to, because they don't know this shit. They want to claim to be some sort of experts on this, but they don't know this. It's fucking stupid. And you won't answer the questions. You won't, how did they see underwater like that? 150 feet down, that's fucking deep. Pretty dark down there. Especially when you're inside an enclosed submarine. Look at the dumbass excuses. Instead of actually answering for, I'm impressed with how little you know, you think you know, right? Because you know about the submarine in the Bahamas that could do, yeah, I'm just making up some nonsense. Everybody knows about this. But instead of debunking or answering any of the questions, you just say dumb shit that proves the point. You know, these bad guy land bots, these Israel. So let's prove it again. Let's go into some real proof. The proof that other people don't like to kind of show you, right? So we're going to talk about. So do you guys know who Naphtali Bennett is? No, you don't, because you're stupid. So between 2019 and 2022, well, 2023, but 2022 being the last year. So in just under 4 years, in 3 years, Israel had five prime ministers. Netanyahu was defeated by Gantz. So Benny Gantz was then the prime minister, but then they said, oh, there's some bullshit with the election. So then Netanyahu went back to being prime minister. Then this guy, Naftali Bennett, beat him in an election and was actually the prime minister for like 6 months. And in like, I don't remember, April, June, something like that of 2023, he just stepped down. No, 2022, sorry, 2022. He just stepped down. And a guy named Yair Lapid took over the position. Because that's how that works. The prime minister can just step down and then somebody else can just take over. And it was that way until they did the bullshit elections in November that put Netanyahu in charge in a way that he can't be removed. Like, there is no removal of Netanyahu at this point. But yeah, but Naftali Bennett was the prime minister of Israel. And the only difference between him and Netanyahu is that Netanyahu believes that all of the citizens, when they're 18, should serve in the military and therefore become reservists. But every single one of them that was born there, when they turn 18, they have to do service in the military. Naftali Bennett believed that that's what we're here for. That's what the Americans are for. The Americans are for doing the dirty work. The chosen at 18 should be going on their government paid for pilgrimages where they go on vacation all around the world and do what they want to do, all paid for by us, American taxpayers. And then all the other countries that give them money, because, the Americans give them $3.8 billion a year. Canada gives them $2 billion a year. Australia gives them $1.2 billion a year. And then there's countless others. And the thing is, the American dollar is worth about $4 there. So if we give them $3.8 billion, it turns into about 15 billion shekels. Maybe even 16 billion shekels. So, and that's a that's a lump sum cash payment that they get every year. When it comes to the story, Israel bought $16 million worth of weapons off of us. Well, they don't actually pay for them. Not only do we give them... What's up, Dookie Poop? What's in your mouth? Did you tell Mom to make the appointment? Why do you have cotton in your mouth? You're so goofy. Shit, I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, Naftali Bennett was the prime minister, right, before Netanyahu. So this is him when Wikipedia first sort of blows up. It's right in the beginning of Wikipedia, but so it's all these years ago, but he even says it's the #1 source of information by now. So he says, listen to what he says.
With My Israel has arranged in conjunction with My Israel has arranged instruction day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature. I came here to learn.
Okay, you see that? He's literally, this is the guy who becomes prime minister, right? He's literally... Of course. He literally says, one, he acknowledges that Wikipedia is the main source of information. He says that they have arranged an instruction day, like we're children, for the editors of Wikipedia And notice how he says, all the time. But he's acknowledging that Israel is there to teach the editors of Wikipedia how to edit things so that it has a balanced Zionist perspective. When people search things like the Gaza flotilla, they want to be there to influence how we think about it. Do you not understand the brazen fucking depravity of that statement? Like it's insane that they're so confident that they can just say, look, yeah, we control Wikipedia. Right? We want to be there to influence how the Goyim think. If they look up stuff on the number one source for information, we want them to look at it from our perspective. Which actually helps my argument when you think about it, right? But so if I then am looking up things on Wikipedia, I'm getting the perspective that they want me to have. There's no conspiracy theory about it. All you idiots who pretend like, oh, anybody can just edit Wikipedia. No, you can't. No, you can't. You might be allowed to. A lot of you, I'm not allowed to edit on Wikipedia. Apparently there's some sort of block associated with my IP address bullshit. It's so funny. But anybody that edits Wikipedia, if you make the edit, it then triggers the system, and whoever is supervising the editors that Israel trained how to have their perspective, they're flagged, and then they come check out your edit, and if your edit goes with the narrative, then they'll keep it. But if your edit says anything they don't like, they just get rid of it. It's so fucking stupid that people think anybody can just edit Wikipedia. But that being said, I'm going to look up Team Jorge on Wikipedia. Team Jorge. This is something all of you should look up. Team Jorge, Wikipedia. And it's funny too, a lot of times on Wikipedia, the edit feature will be locked. So when it comes to things like the Samson option, it's not allowed to be edited. You should look up the Samson option. Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Israel contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections. So if they can manipulate the outcomes of elections, do you think manipulating some doofus in Michigan's YouTube feed is beyond the scope of reason? It's beyond their capabilities? One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The group was exposed in February 2023 after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Israel and France as part of a consortium of investigative journalists coordinated by Forbidden Stories. It's actually a whole bunch of other countries are included, including the United States. The organization has been active since at least 2015 and boasts of having manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide, many of them in Africa, don't worry. Many of them, meaning 4 or more, are in Africa. Funny how 5 of them they didn't have success in, and 4 or more were in Africa. 2015. You know, I don't know if you know of any sort of election that happened around 2015, but apparently they've been on the books since 2015. Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal Hanan, T-A-L-H-A-N-A-N, the group's leader and former Israeli Special Forces operative, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. Tal Hanan used the pseudonym Jorge when working with hacking and disinformation group, which inspired the name Team Jorge. According to Tal Hanan, the group's leader, Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. Remember, they tricked this guy. They proposed as clients wanting to manipulate an election. So they interview with this guy and they film it, and he's spilling the beans trying to sell them. Hey, look at how great we are. We do this, we do that. We've been around for this long. Like, it's funny how this works. However, its first documented activity dates to 2015. Their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. One of the group's primary tools is a software package called AIMS, Advanced Impact Media Solutions. The software automates centralized control of thousands of fake social media profiles on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, and more. YouTube. A number of these profiles have Amazon accounts, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how else to prove to you that they control social media, right? Like, I showed you that they brag about controlling Wikipedia. I then read the article on Wikipedia that they have approved. This is their work, their handiwork. And they're acknowledging that they control social media and use bot farm accounts to attack people that disagree with them. Like, it's I don't know what else to provide you as far as information goes. But look at all the dumb comments. Look at all the comments. Again, they say they want to talk about submarines, but as soon as the conversation goes that way, they don't have anything to say. They're really actually stupid. And what you'll see is that the bad guys are stupid. When the UN in 2022 was talking about doing an investigation into bad guy land, because the what is supposed to be a temporary occupation is clearly colonization, the UN wanted to open the books. And Bad Guy Land responded with, if you open the books on Bad Guy Land, you demonize Bad Guy Land. To them, that's a good argument. Why? Because they're really stupid. They don't understand what they're actually saying. Like, I don't ever discourage people from looking into my background. I haven't done anything that demonizes me. I'm not really worried about you demonizing me. I encourage you to look into my background. You'll find good shit. Of course, I've made mistakes in my life, but nothing that's like something I am ashamed of or embarrassed of. Maybe embarrassed because I did something stupid, but not something where I'm, you know, I gotta drink it away or whatever. But I'm never going to tell you, like, don't do it. I encourage you to. Find something wrong. You bring the best things you can bring to me that I've done, and we'll compare it. But it's not how weed works. I realized it as soon as I did it, that some dumbass would take advantage of that, but that's not how weed works. Weed doesn't smoke it away. If anything, weed would make you think about it more. But nice try. I mean, and see, when they do shit like that, they show that they're actually paying attention, right? So they could be, they're clearly hearing what's being said, and they're clearly, you know, paying attention. So they get motivated to say stupid shit. But all the other things I say, they don't have any motivation to address that stuff. You know, they're not going to address Team Jorge. As a matter of fact, Team Jorge seems like it's like the one thing that they really, really stay away from when it comes to this whole thing. They're always trying to change the subject away from Team Jorge. Why do you think that is? The powers that be are and will always be in control. Well, I mean, people like you are why. If you just accept that idea, then that's what they want you to do. And they've given you, like, not saying these are actual real examples, all these are manipulations, but they've given you examples of how regular people can change the world. Again, these are manipulations. I don't believe they're necessarily true, and there's a lot more to it, but you know, guys like MLK, if they hadn't stepped up and believed that they could do something different, I feel so stupid saying this because MLK is such a plant, such a fucking manipulated story, but still, it's people believing they can change the world and do. The one thing people have to realize is that we outnumber them. They only make up 0.18%, 183% of the world's population. They're insignificant. 0.183% of the world's population. They only make up 2% of the population here in the United States. So for them to actually be in control of anything is fucking silly. If you fly the pedo flag again, you'll get removed. Don't fly the pedo flag. Did you guys see the Aaron Bushnell video? That is a fucking insane video. I'm not usually one to watch those kind of videos because I don't like having those images in my head. But wow. And the reality is, like, it didn't do anything. This should have been such a huge fucking story. You know, this should have been something that was talked about left and right. That video should have been everywhere. It's crazy. You know, he's just walking with his cell phone talking about, all right, I'm going to do something. Like, he's just normal. All right, I'm going to do something, you know, because I'm sick of everything that's happening and nobody's paying attention to what's going on. So I'm going to do this thing. He fucking sets up his camera, pours lighter fluid all over himself, and then lights the shit on fire. And he just stands there going, free Palestine, free Palestine, free, until he can't do it anymore. And he just sort of like, free and he falls down. And it's just, it's an unbelievable fucking thing to witness. How could anybody be that? Like, that's just, I mean, I get the you know, this is going to bring attention to things, thinking that maybe this will work. Obviously it didn't. But my God. Jesus. Oh, God. The Christianity narrative is so stupid. If the United States wasn't a Christian nation, then what's happening right now wouldn't be happening. You know, people have been so programmed to turn their backs on what's happening because, well, it's God's chosen people. So, you know, it's the Holy Land and all this other dumb bullshit. The arrogance in thinking that like, of all the land in the entire world, God only decided to hang out in this one little pinprick, right there, and have conversations with people, and only them, you know. I mean, I don't think people realize that the Bible is a Jewish story. It's not Christians. Everybody in the book is a bad guy. Ish. They actually talk about the Gentiles as separate people. Multiple times they mention the Gentiles, not we Gentiles, but they Gentiles. And it's just strange to me how you've been so manipulated into being second class. You are like, you put yourself in that position. In your own religion, you're not the chosen people. And if you're not the chosen people, what are you? Like, it seems like, especially according to the Bible, if you're not chosen, then you're a slave. And it's so strange because it's not like any other religion puts a different religion atop themselves, you know? Like, it's such a weird thing. You know, the Muslims don't have a different religion as the chosen people. The chosen people don't have a different religion as the chosen people. But Christians believe a different religion altogether. Literally the bad guys in the Bible, because Satan's a very, underused character in the Bible. Abraham is the main bad guy. And yet you're one of 3 Abrahamic religions. What? Like, think about how stupid this is. I guarantee that your average Christian knows as much about the Bible as they do about submarines. You know, they don't know shit. And none of you know shit. Because you haven't looked. Has nothing to do with intelligence. Maybe remembering things is, but it just has to do with distraction. You know, religion was forced on you as a kid. You hated it. And then at some point, you sort of was like, well, I don't want to make my old elderly mom and dad upset, so I'll just keep doing this and whatever. You don't necessarily believe in it. You don't practice what it says. Every single one of you had sex before you were married, so I hope you enjoy hell. Every single one of you had sex for reasons other than procreation. So again, I hope you enjoy hell. You've all jerked off at some point. You know, y'all eat meat and shit. Like, it's just goofy. But you want to believe that, because again, you're one of these arrogant motherfuckers who thinks they can just pick and choose which things they want to believe, which rules they want to follow. And then when the time comes, well, they'll just say they're sorry. And they'll just repent and everything will work out. Imagine if the church was still pushing the idea that purgatory existed. And that, people that commit suicide and aborted babies and shit are stuck in purgatory forever. I wonder, do all the people that were in purgatory prior to the church just deciding purgatory was no longer a thing, do they get out of purgatory at that point, or are they still in, are they grandfathered in? Look at this. Look at these fucking... He's saying Christianity isn't true. Not that you should wait. What part about it do you think is true? What proof do you have that literally any of it is true? When you're a Christian, you're a Catholic. You just don't like to admit it. Everybody who pushes the Bible is Catholic. somebody else just thought they wanted some power and they didn't like this rule or that rule, so they started something somehow that you now call your denomination, but you're a Catholic. It's all just stupid nonsense. It really is stupid nonsense. And it's not even like it's well written or it's any good. It's a horrible read. Try reading the story of Job. You want to talk about a fucking boring story. Like, it starts off good. You have this group of scholars, I forgot what they're called, but committee or some shit like that, that's going to have a meeting with God, and somehow the devil sneaks in. And as soon as God sees the devil, he goes running over like, hey devil, look, hey buddy, hey, I'm awesome, right? Look how awesome I am. See that guy down there? That guy Job? He worships me. He worships me. And the devil's like, hey, remember how I told you I was going to trick him? Watch this. Well, he only worships you because you let him have so much. And God's like, nuh-uh. Watch. I'll let you do whatever you want. Just don't kill him. And don't hurt him. And I bet you he'll still worship me. And so the devil makes all his kids die, make all his fucking cattle. He was this rich, powerful man, and all of his shit died. There was a knock at the door, and a person with a letter said, your sons and daughters were all killed when a gust of wind blew the roof down on their house. And then another knock on the door. He doesn't even think to look to see if there are more messengers coming by the second knock. Every time he closes the door, there's another knock. Oh yeah, this happened. And this is where you get the whole, well, God giveth and God taketh away. That's what Job says. And so now the devil's back up there, and God's like, see, I told you. And the devil's like, watch. Yeah, but, he still has his health. I guarantee if you took away his health, he wouldn't be as jovial. He wouldn't be as supportive. And God's like, no, fine. You can hurt him, just don't kill him. So then the devil fucks him up, puts boils and sores on his body that he has to scratch off with a piece of broken pottery. It's so disgusting. It's so fucking gross. And so three of Job's friends come sitting up, and they all have the steam room conversation, well, now that you've lost everything, shouldn't you just, denounce God and move on? And he's like, why should I denounce God and move on? God's the only thing I have. And this goes on for 42 chapters. Well, we'll say, I think the whole thing is 42 chapters. So 38 of the chapters are just this back and forth conversation between Job and these three guys trying to understand. And at first they just sit with him. He's sitting there, he sits silent for a week, and they sit silently with him for a week. I mean, it's just the dumbest fucking story. And of course, they got it wrong the first time. So there's the Old Testament and the New Testament. Just stupid. The thing is, everything that's in red, all the things that Jesus supposedly said, he's the whiniest, just simp kind of character ever. He's really, really this whiny kind of, well, don't you believe me? My dad is God. You should believe me. If you don't believe me, it's going to be bad for you. I'm God's son. It's fucking silly. How about, growing up, I always heard the phrase like Jesus led, he made the blind see. And I guess in my head, from years of televangelism, I just thought it was one of those situations where there was maybe a group of blind people and Jesus was like, you can all see now. And they all could see. That's how I sort of thought it was in my head. I don't know why. But I looked it up. And the story goes that Jesus is, and there's so many weird things. Like Jesus has all these followers following him around every day, everywhere he goes. And they never bother to talk about how all these followers eat, except for the one time that they do. And they mention that the followers are hungry and there's no food, sans the 2 fish and some bread. And Jesus says, okay, my 12 disciples or whatever, you go ahead and you eat the fish and the bread and just put it in the basket. Put the scraps in the basket when you're done. And they're like, what do you mean? And he's like, just trust me, put the scraps in the basket. Like in your head, Jesus is like, 2 fish, a bunch of fish, here you go. That's how it is. But that's not what the story says. And then, so they eat the fish and the bread, and then they put the basket out. And then that's just sort of the next morning. Like they don't really explain how and what ends up happening from all of that. How, where all the extra food comes, where all the extra fish, and if there's bread. They don't say any of that shit. It's just the next morning. And the next morning, Jesus is gone. He's bailed. Because he felt weird about having to feed his followers. And he didn't want them to get used to him providing them with food somehow. So he bailed on them. That's the fucking narrative. It's just fucking stupid. There's so many stories like that in the Bible that you think is one thing, but it's not. Revelations is easily one of the dumbest stories you'll ever read. And yet every time there's like a bunch of locusts or a bunch of grasshoppers or something, a bunch of grasshoppers was the last one, I think. In Africa, there's a bunch of grasshoppers eating up the farmland in this small area. And you see like Christians are like, oh my God, the fucking Revelations is happening. Revelations is happening. And it's like, you don't know that shit, do you? Revelations is a list. It doesn't happen this one, that one. It happens in a row. And the locusts that are supposed to, be these the thing you're talking about. In the Bible, the locusts are the size of horses. They have armored breastplates. They have the faces of man, but the teeth of a lion. They have big wings, and then they have a tail like a serpent. Are those the locusts that you see flying around eating crops? No. But you run with that shit because, I don't know, because you've been programmed to the worst possible things. Everything that people believe is death, doom, and gloom. Everything. The best case scenario for Christians is that Jesus returns, and as soon as Jesus floats down and his little footsie tootsie toes touch the ground, the 16 good Christians that exist, because most of you aren't good Christians, the 16 good Christians that exist instantly evaporate. They get raptured and they fly up. And then everybody else down here dies from Armageddon. Christianity is 1 to 1.5, maybe 2 billion people out of the 8. That means at least 6 billion people are going to die because they don't believe in your bullshit. And a large portion of that 6 billion people are children who've never even been exposed to Christianity. So they've just gone through Armageddon. Now they're standing at these pearly gates with St. Peter. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this a white man? Because, St. Pete's always white. And he's like, well, do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? And blah, blah, blah. And they're like, who? Hell button. They don't know who Jesus is. They're like, those people are supposed to just accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior? Have you ever considered that perhaps the visions of the book of Revelations are being described by someone who has seen a vision thousands of years into the future but doesn't have the right words? No, because that's not what it's supposed to be. I'm so glad you said that, right? Because it just shows you the ignorance that most people have. Because right after Revelations is told, one of the followers is like scared and asks Jesus, Jesus, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ, hey Jesus. When are all these, when is this horrible thing supposed to happen? And Jesus says, verily I say unto you, no one of this generation shall die before all these things come to pass. Do you get that? Matthew 24:34. Jesus says nobody of that generation will die until these things have all come to pass. And if you actually know your Bible, the only thing I can compare it to is the Princess Bride, right? The Princess Bride is you, the watcher, like spying on a grandfather telling his grandson a story that manifests into another vision. So it's like a double fourth wall kind of thing. But the Bible is an older gentleman telling whoever a story from the past. It's the past. The Bible is telling the story of the past. It's not that it's telling the story of a past from 2025. This is the story of the past from supposedly, well, again, most people don't understand, like, the first Bible scriptures that exist are dated to like, and I just have such a hard time with any of the history anymore. But it's not like the Jesus narrative was being told forever. The first scriptures, written down scriptures, appear in the 900s. You know, AD, it's 900 years of telephone, and then finally somebody start writing the shit down. And then coincidentally, in 1946, just where they're going to take over and make Israel, they happened to find the Dead Sea Scrolls. They found one or two of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then they lost the cave for 2 years. And then they found it again. And the funny thing is, it's only like, it was like less than 100 meters away from a town or something. Like, it's just something stupid. But they just lost it while they made a bunch of other scrolls and set them. Like, that's obviously what was happening, if they even found any in the first place. But the Dead Sea Scrolls, again, these aren't Christian. These are Jewish. It's all Jewish narratives in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And the Dead Sea Scrolls date from around 70 AD, so they say. I mean, what magical Scantron device they have that allows them to date things is, well, we don't get access to that. But it's like, and then the Bible as you know it was supposedly made in 1611. King James had it commissioned in 1611, and Sir Francis Bacon, aka Shakespeare, is who actually wrote it, supposedly. But again, it's all just you believing in just bullshit. I mean, the historical narrative they give us is bullshit. Just like the fact that Jesus didn't come down and be like, hey, you know how you think the sun and shit revolves around us? No, you're on this big, giant, round ball flying through space at thousands and thousands of miles per hour. And you're just this small, insignificant speck in this great, giant universe. Jesus didn't say anything like that. Look at the effort this person makes. Look at these dumb, long-ass comments that get made that say nothing. Nothing. They're putting in all this effort to try to come up with anything but what's being talked about. Why? Is it because they're smart enough to? They just instead want to look like they're stupid? Why, if the only thing that's going to work, you know, someone like me, some ego guy like me, is by smashing my ego, which is by proving I'm wrong about something, making me look, why don't you ever do that? Why do you always do exactly what you're supposed to do, which is prove how stupid you are? You know, where are all the Christians? Come on, Christians. Don't you know shit? Don't you know shit? Come on. Say some good shit. Say something smart. Put me in my place. Funny how you don't know shit. You just don't know shit. And like I always use this example, but it reminds me of when you're at a party, a family party, and you're having a conversation with another adult, but you know, one of your nieces or nephews wants to play or at least be part of the conversation, but they don't understand the politics you're talking about. They're like just sitting there like, duh. And then, you know, at one point they'll be like, it's cool, we had an election and we voted for Trump. And you go, oh yeah, why, buddy? I don't know. People said they like his hair. Okay, cool. Hey, let us finish this conversation and then I promise I'll come hang out with you later, okay? Okay. Like that's how it normally would work, except this time the kid's like, no, you have to pay attention to me. Let's talk about the dumb shit I want to talk about. I have a fire truck. It's like, who gives a shit, dude? It's so stupid how, you know, like again, they'll say things like, I don't matter. If I don't matter, why do you come here every single day for hours at a time? Oh, because you're entertaining. So out of everything that exists in this world, I'm the most entertaining thing that you can find, and that's supposed to be a slight? That's supposed to bother me? I don't think you understand how that works. But it's the same dumb Team Jorge nonsense over and over again. And when it's not Team Jorge, because I read you guys Team Jorge, the second part of this is to look up act.il. Okay. Act.il. Oh, look, act.il is all locked up. No editing this. Anybody can just go edit Wikipedia. Not this part. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? act.il was a social networking service used by supporters of Bad Guy Land to oppose online, quote, anti-Bad Guy Land content, such as the Boycott, Divestments, and Sanctions BDS movement. Its activities were referred to as, quote, an online propaganda campaign and a, quote, virtual situation room for pro-bad guy experts. Interesting. Listen. act.il directed its users to, quote, missions to like, comment on, and share pro-bad guy land material on social media. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Bad Guy Land. Users were guided how to respond, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points, or sharing or upvoting an allied comment. The app also provided users with ready-made memes to promote Bad Guy Land's perspective for them to share. Listen. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. So we showed that Bad Guy Land has Team Jorge to do the automated side of things. And they had act.il. But they said that they disbanded the app and now users should just use their social media platforms. So instead of there being the paper trail to this one thing, now it's just on social media using the fake accounts and all that shit that they use on social media. Like it's right here. I'm literally proving to you what's going on. According to Plus 972, which is Plus 972 magazine, is an Bad Guy Land left-wing news and opinion online magazine. Okay, so it's their shit. act.il was a centerpiece of a digital campaign called 4IL, number 4IL, or for bad guy land. Announced in 2017 by Gilad Erdan, then the Minister of Strategic Affairs, for the promotion of bad guy land and the delegitimization of BDS, boycott, divestments, and sanctions. The act.il app would assign users missions to challenge social media posts it considered to be critical of bad guy land or in favor of the BDS movement. Erdan called it an iron dome of truth. act.il was a joint project of the private Bad Guy Land University, IDC Herzliya, and the US-based Bad Guy Land American Council. The Maccabee Task Force, one of Sheldon Adelson's foundations, is a major funder of act.il. The organization behind act.il is staffed by former intelligence officers and has a collegial relationship with the Bad Guy Land intelligence community. It had a close relationship with Bad Guy Land's Minister of Strategic Affairs, which combats the BDS movement, which it views as a threat. You guys see that? Nuclear threat. You mean the Samson option? Let's look up the Samson option. The Samson option is Bad Guy Land's deterrent strategy of massive retaliation with nuclear weapons as a, quote, last resort against any country whose military has invaded and or destroyed much of Israel. Invaded and or destroyed. And that's very, very vague. Much of it. Well, what does much mean? I guess that's a perspective thing, isn't it? Commentators have also employed the term to refer to situations where non-nuclear, non-bad guy land actors have threatened conventional weapon retaliation. No. The name is in reference to the biblical Israelite judge Samson, who pushed apart the pillars of a Philistine temple, bringing down the roof and killing himself and thousands of Philistines who had captured him. Right? Because, the strongest man in history has to be a bad guy. Isn't that interesting? When the Lehigh militant group were discussing ways to assassinate General Evelyn Baker, the British Army commander in Mandatory Palestine, a young woman volunteered to do the assassination as a suicide bombing. She said, "Let my soul die with the Philistines," as a reference to the Samson story in the Hebrew Bible. Other members of the group rejected her offer. But they liked what it was called. It's another interesting one to read. Operation Cast Thy Bread. Look, it's another one that's all locked up. That's interesting, don't you think? Isn't that interesting? Operation Cast Thy Bread was a top secret biological warfare operation conducted by the Haganah, and later the IDF, the Israel Defense Force, that began in April 1948 during the 1948 Palestine War. You mean the Nakba, when they created Bad Guy Land. The Haganah used typhoid bacteria to contaminate drinking water wells. It's already on. To contaminate drinking water wells in violation of the 1925 Geneva Protocol. Its objective was to frighten and prevent Palestinian Arabs from returning to villages captured by the Yishuv and making conditions difficult for Arab armies to attempt to retake territories. Oh, that's what it was. It was to be used against the military, not the civilians who drank that water. The operation resulted in severe illness among local Palestinian citizens. In the final months of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, when did the Palestine War turn into the Arab-Israeli War? Bad Guy Land gave orders to expand the biological warfare campaign into neighboring Arab states like Egypt, Lebanon, and Syria, but they were not carried out. Sure they weren't. Israeli Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion and IDF Chief General Staff Yigael Yadin oversaw and approved the use of biological warfare against civilians. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting? Remember, Wikipedia is the source that they provide us. And that they teach the editors how to edit things, how to influence things. They influence the editors how to influence us into having a balanced Zionist perspective. Isn't that fucking crazy? Like, how do you, what, I always wonder, like, what would it take if you're not somebody who is disgusted by the genocide that's taking place, by the idea that you're second class in your own belief structure, by all the pedophilia that goes on, whether it's Hollywood, government, or military, especially in their country, in their state, because it's a state for some reason. Like, if you're not bothered enough by all of that, and I'm now providing you with multiple sources, you know, their sources, them telling us that they control everything. What would it require? Like, what is it that you guys would require before you would start to think for yourself? Before you would start to question things? Before your lack of knowledge wouldn't be the forefront of things, where you would just be like, hey, maybe I don't know this shit. Maybe I should look into this shit. Oh, look, he's actually reading it. It's in print. There's nothing exaggerated or you know, false about this. This is what they want us to know. And it flat out tells you that they control social media, that they employ each other to do what they do. Like, I mean, it's, when you look at the gender reveal bombing that they did, where they bombed a house and they had blue powder in the explosion, so the gender reveal, which it's a boy, and they all celebrate and laugh and laugh. That's the type of people we're talking about. The type of people who poison drinking water systems. The type of people who bleed children and use their blood for their rituals. Like, it's all fucking insane. That abuse, mutilate and molest their children, all of their children, through a ritual 8 days into life. There's an article everybody should find on the Bad Guy Land website. It's their own website. It's called Israel Hayom, Hayom. It's out of there. It's all staffed by it's all them. And it's called Bottom of Darkness. And it's about how in every community in that state, ritualistic sexual abuse of children is just everywhere. It's rampant. Like, why does that exist? Why do we know that and there's not immediate and forceful action taken? I just, it's so fucking weird, and it it explains, like, if they can do that to their own children, to the people they love, what are they capable of doing to people they hate? Right? What wouldn't they do to someone they hate if they would do that to the people they love, to their children? Like, it's foul, and it's the fact that we as a society accommodate that cult in what they do that just doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. You know, I don't know anybody that's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Go right ahead, do that horrible shit. Most people don't believe you because it's so horrible. Most people have no idea what Matitza Bipa is. Don't put the box down. The box is staying here. Why? Because there's lots of stuff in it that I want and I'm going to sell. There's valuable stuff in there.
No, she's a horrible mom that's making me do help her with stuff.
Well, that's how it works. Horrible parents. Yeah, you can take all the shit. Take the pads. Pads can go. Like all that can go. But there's stuff in there that...
Like crash dummies and that.
Right. She's employing him as she's taking a bunch of old clothes and stuff for the poor. Because that's how horrible we are.
These people are good.
Yeah, these pedos are good. These pedos are good.
Keep doing what you do to children.
No, it's that can be. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's not that big a deal. Watch out, don't knock that cup down.
It's a good idea what you're doing.
You horrible, horrible person taking toys and clothing to the poor. How dare you?
Die pedos.
Die pedos. You gotta love it, man. But this is how this works. There's no write-off either. We don't get like some sort of write-off for doing this.
I mean, if you go in and want to receive, you could, but
we don't.
we don't do that shit.
Yeah, we don't care. It's just helping. We needed it. At one point, we needed the help. We didn't even know you could get it. We got turned on to it when we were at the fucking bottom. It was Christmas time, and you know, I had just gotten hurt. Everything was all fucked up, and they provided our kids with a good Christmas. And ever since then, we've taken so much shit to them. Because that's what you should do. I mean, there's no reward for it. Yeah, it feels good, but it's what you should do. You should help out those who need help. But with that being said, you know, the Palestinians need help more than anyone else right now. And that's not even saying, like, there are other horrible things happening all over Africa. The same people are killing, you know, black people like crazy. That just doesn't get talked about. And whether they're employing one black group or another to kill black people, they're still in charge. They're still the ones doing it. But nothing has ever been this kind of broadcast where it's just shown and shoved in our faces, and they laugh about it, and they keep talking about they're the victims and we need to give them money, and anything you say against them isn't right. And I mean, like with me, I encourage you to find the holes in what I'm saying and then bring them up to me. Why? Because I know I'm right, and I know there's nothing you're going to say. And whatever questions you do have, I want you to ask. Because they're I might be missing something or whatever. And I learn a lot from people who ask actual questions, whether I know it or not. If I don't know it, then I look it up. But the system, not only do they not answer the questions, the only option they have at this point is to make it illegal. Which goes into the whole Trumpanzee thing and just makes you wonder, like, all you America First Trumpanzee morons, what part of destroying the First Amendment is your favorite? Right? What part of taking away free speech to protect a foreign country committing genocide against another foreign country, and to prevent the people from talking about it, protesting it, what part of that is America First? What part of America First is funneling money into Israel?
Those two shelf things I'm giving to Alyssa for the playroom. We got them on Friday.
I mean, it's just such a strange existence we're in right now, where the people that are doing the worst things brag about doing the worst things until you check them on it, until you call them out on it. And as soon as that happens, they just fall apart. They have these temper tantrums. You can't say that. You're not allowed to say those things. Why are you saying that? And it's just the strangest fucking, it's so strange how it works out. Because they're so stupid. You have to, like, look at all the dumbasses that come on here and just say the dumbest things they can because they can't say anything else. They're not smart enough to actually come up with anything else to say. So they just desperately say the stupidest things. Like, it's so weird. Right. Ending pedophilia, ending the genocide, ending the cult control. That is stupid. How dare I say such horribly stupid things like that, huh? Like, this is what I'm talking about. This guy was like, I'll get him. Don't worry, guy. I'll roast him. And then says something stupid like that. This guy thought that was going to be a good comment. He thought he was going to get me. No, you say stupid things. You show me the video that exists where one of them is being interviewed and looks like even a decent person. Let alone these psychopaths who they're fucking insane. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck me, I fuck you in the ass, I rape your women, fuck you. They're just the worst people ever. Show me, there are so many videos that show bad guy kids in classes, like singing songs about kill the Arabs and, all these crazy, horrible things. They try to trick you into thinking that you're supposed to support their people. It's just there's some bad apples in the bunch. Think about that shit. Think about how crazy that is. Look at how stupid these commenters are. If they don't prove to be exactly who I'm talking about, I don't know what else to think. Mad because it's true. Of course, that's what they do. You would think, just come on here and educate people. There's all these misconceptions going around, so why don't you be the voice of reason and explain what everybody's getting wrong? No, you're gonna just say dumb shit? Gotcha. Misinformation, yeah. Can you imagine that? I'm gonna watch you for hours, and then I'm gonna tell on you for misinformation because you were reading Wikipedia, reading the narrative they want us to know. Well, what I do is I find things, and anytime I see a video that pretends like unicorns existed, I report it because that's misinformation. How dare people have a difference of opinion than I do? Unicorns aren't real. Do you report Christians left and right for talking about Jesus, since that shit's fake too? No. No. The stupidity is just, it's like impressive. It's so thick and so obvious that it's like impressive. How can you be so stupid? If I was you, I would feel so embarrassed. If I went to a page and tried to be smart ass and somebody just turned it around on me like I always do with you, I would feel so stupid. If I believed in something that I couldn't explain, or at least attempt to explain, I would feel stupid. Somebody asked me, hey, well, tell me something good about what you believe, or tell me why you believe the way you do. And I go, duh, you got a dumb haircut. Like, that would embarrass the fuck out of me. Not them. Not them. I just, it's fascinating. And there's a reason why I allow them to continue to be here. Because they do provide a very valuable example. Like if they were just a nuisance and I didn't, or I was some kind of coward like they are and I didn't like when people disagreed with me, then I'd just block them. I mean, it'd be that simple. Of course, they would just continue to make fake profiles like they love to do. Because I know all of you do that, right? You'll watch somebody and then when you get their attention and they call you stupid or they call you out for being a pedo or something like that, and then they block you, you make fake profile after fake profile so you can continue watching them, right? That's what you guys do? I can honestly say I've never done that. How about you? Like, this is fucking silly. Like, every single person that's on here that has had the opportunity to comment something along the lines of, yeah, fuck those pedos, we should kill them, this genocide's horrible, it needs to stop, you're wrong, Jesus is real because of anything like that, and they don't say, well, the first two at least, it shows you who these fucking people are, what kind of disgusting people these are. They're not out here demanding that we kill pedos. They're not out here demanding that we stop the genocide. Like, think about how stupid you have to be to play into the role that well. By the way, I haven't said it yet, but if you're watching, like, share, and sub. Really helps out. Appreciate the shit. We always give. Go get the free download, www.the-bilderberg-group.com. The link will be in the description, but if you need it right away, you can just go to a previous video. It'll be there. But yeah, share, help. Dislike the video if you hate it. Like, if I'm wrong, dislike it. Actually, anybody, whether you like it or dislike, especially if you dislike it, take 2 seconds and share it on Facebook and title it, "This guy's crazy. Somebody come in here and tell him what he's wrong about, since I can't." Do whatever you got to do. It's time, man. Like, I don't know what else you're waiting for. Like I say, I can provide you all the evidence necessary and you just continue to ignore it. The world is providing you with the evidence that I've been right this whole time, and yet you continue to ignore it. Yeah. I love the people that are just hung up on the submarines thing. Like, I keep talking about it out of the blue. I've already said I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I've said before 1,000 times, if you really want to have that conversation, then go look at the first ones. But this one's using the excuse that you're talking about this, but then you start talking about a technology that clearly, blah, blah, blah. What kind of stupid comment is that? That's why you don't denounce the pedophilia. That's why you don't denounce the genocide, because I don't believe in something you do. Like the thought that somebody wrote that comment out, like he thought that in his head and was like, "Oh yeah, this'll get him." Like that you honestly thought that was a good thing to say. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That level of stupid is just, I can't relate. I would be embarrassed if I was that stupid. It's so fucking silly. But this is how this works, man. You can't expect to be going after the number one bad guy, be 100% right, and not have the resistance. There's always going to be resistance. But when you're right, and there's like, you have to be a total piece of shit to oppose me, then the resistance is going to be on that level. It's that stupid. Most of the things these guys say in this are things that if you say it to them, they're going to want to fight. Well, as long as you're not bigger than them and it's not in public. Maybe if it's on a screen or something like that. Oh yeah, well, you're gay. Like, all these dumb comments are things that somebody has said to them at some point, and they thought, ouch, that hurt my feelings. So now they're trying to say it to hurt mine. When they don't realize that, like, every single comment that they make that ignores the point being made just adds to my point. Everything they do just makes my argument that much easier and that much stronger. You're motivated to say every dumbass thing in the world, but you're not motivated enough to say, fuck pedophiles, kill pedophiles. You're not motivated enough to talk about the genocide happening. You're America First bullshit. Now I make no sense. Yup, makes no sense. And then there's that other part where they really are like ignorant. They really are stupid. I tend to think because I've done so much and I know so much about this particular thing that sort of everybody knows it. But I forget how stupid everybody is. If I started talking about engineering and like all the ins and outs of engineering, the majority of the people don't know the ins and outs of engineering. So what could they possibly say in response? Nothing. If there's such, childish or programmed idiots that they have to say something, well, it's going to come out as stupid. It's not going to have anything to do with what's being talked about, and it's just going to be something stupid. Going to be some excuse. Well, we would debunk you, but you're not going to believe it anyway. Never mind all the other people that might see your argument. Well, I have debunked you. You know how many times somebody has made this long-ass comment about how they have debunked me in the past, but then I didn't read it, or I blah, blah, blah. Instead of just making whatever point they made that debunked me in the first place, making it again, they're going to make this long-ass excuse that they did in the past, but now they won't do it again. Well, I already said it once, so I can't say it again. And even if I do read the shit where they're saying that like they did, and I say, okay, well, what was that point that you made? Oh, I'm not going to say it again. You're just gonna blah, blah, blah. They always have excuses for why they can't argue. Not what I'm getting wrong, just why they can't argue. Look at this stuff. Look at these dumb, it's like it makes it boring and I end up missing the few good comments that come through because I'm just ignoring this shit. I'm really supposed to read this shit? All this dumbass nonsense over and over again, blah, 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 blah. Now they're yelling, I'm going to hold cap locks down. I'm going to click cap locks and I'm going to type in cap locks because I'm yelling now. Why aren't you paying attention to me? I don't like you, so I watch you every day for hours on end and I say dumb shit to get your attention. Why aren't you paying attention to me? It's so irritating, but it's hilarious. Right? Like, I really wish there were actually intelligent people here. You know, I would love to hear the counterpoints for why Israel's not the bad guy. For what good they do. Like show me how they're our number one ally. I would love to see some evidence to support that statement. But nothing. Nothing. This is the dumbass nonsense that keeps going. And it's just fascinating that they're clearly so stupid, and either they don't realize it or they do, but they just don't care. I'm not really sure which one it is. I mean, I just can't imagine, I can't imagine continuously avoiding the topics at hand to say dumb shit. It's like if I got on here and I started talking about Trump sucked, and all I could talk about was, his hair. But look at his hair, though, and look at his orange skin. Come on, look at that. Like that. That's basically the all they do. Never mind the factual stuff that at least we're supposed to know that's happened. Never mind the Katie Johnson stuff. All the Epstein stuff, never mind the COVID stuff, never mind the fact he never won the first election to begin with, never mind all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about, but his hair, look at his hair. It's so weird. And then his meth, I do wonder why nobody talks about the fact that he looks like a meth head. If he wasn't so fat, the way he talks, when he talks and he's like, he'd be talking and he goes, in between breaths or in between statements. If I did that the whole time I was doing this, people would have a field day with that shit. And if you see him when, I don't know, maybe he's a little tipsy or I don't know what it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was a gay man behind closed doors. He has very effeminate mannerisms. And the stuff that his personality is like what a gay guy thinks a straight guy is, and he overdoes it. He overplays the role. Look, I walk like this because that's how straight men. It's goofy. I got to make sure I don't sway when I walk. But see, again, that kind of shit. I'm gonna sit here and keep going on this stuff when there's a genocide happening. Come on. This is how this works. The dumbass black and white profile there has been here this whole time. This whole time. Show me one comment they've made that is some sort of reasonable, oh shit, that was a good thing. Show me one comment. Remember, all of these people are apparently mad. They won't really actually tell you why they're here. But they're apparently mad at the guy who thinks we should kill pedos and end the cult. Isn't that a fun little thing here? They're all motivated to be here for hours on end. A lot of them claim to be on the West Coast. So that means usually when I start at 8:30, it's between 5 and 5:30 a.m. there that they have an alarm set so they can get up and troll my feed, saying stupid shit to make themselves look stupid. Not me. Nothing they say debunks anything I have to say. But to think that kind of dedication and that obsession over me because I'm wrong in ways that they can't express. Oh, we've got a pedo flag flyer. Goodbye. Must have run out of shit to say, so Gonna use their excuse to get out of it. Gotcha. Anybody wants to fly the pedo flag, go right ahead. It's pretty entertaining. Okay. Again, like that's supposed to be some sort of knock? Okay. The chat is at war with itself. Well, they got to do whatever they can to distract people. There has to be a distraction going on because the last thing they want is a bunch of intelligent goyim standing up and saying the right things. Telling them to go fuck themselves and their stupid cult. We don't support that shit anymore. That shit is crazy and weird. I can't yike that kind. It's too slimy and weird. I don't understand, man. I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, maybe I'm doing it just to make myself feel better. Knowing that the majority of these dumbass profiles are just bots. Because I really don't want to believe that my fellow man is so complacent with genocide and so just okay with their money being stolen from them and given to a cult to commit genocide and do all kinds of other horrible shits. Like, I don't want to believe that these are actual people. I'd much rather you be a bot than an actual person who doesn't give a shit about genocide. An actual person who believes in goofy fairy tales. An actual person who believes themselves to be second class, second tier in their own belief structure. Like, you're not that stupid, right? You're not just another dumb goyim like they want you to be, like they need you to be. Would they shut the comments off? Whenever it just suddenly stops like this, it feels like they shut the comments off. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like they shut the comments off. Because that happens, you know. It's what happens when you watch people's videos, right? I just can't. I don't know. I'm getting more and more bothered by the Iran situation, just in that, you know, why did Iran sit by and watch for 2 years, almost 2 years, as they slaughtered the Palestinians? Why is Saudi Arabia sitting by and watching? Why are all these countries that could easily team up and wipe the map clean, why aren't they? Other than the Abraham Accords, which at the end of the day, what does that even do? Like, just because you said something, supposedly not knowing what was on the horizon, doesn't mean. So how long are you bound by these Abraham Accords that no matter what they do, you're not going to interfere? That's some fucking weird shit. You know, any respect I'd had for Muslim countries has been destroyed by their lack of anything. You know, I always thought, like, compared to the Christians, at least the Muslims are dedicated. The Muslims will shut their businesses down so they can pray. They'll lose money just so they can pray when they're supposed to pray. The Muslims actually seem to follow a lot more of the rules in their book than Christians do. And Muslims are fucking stupid. Don't get it twisted. Like, Islam is just ridiculous. Why anybody would believe in any of that shit is just beyond me. But comparing the two, Islam seemed like the more dedicated cult than Christianity. But why have they been so goddamn silent? I just they're there, they have the firepower. They could have been doing more to help, and they just didn't. They haven't been. If I was the leader of a country, I'd be as loudly against these motherfuckers as I possibly could. And when I win the presidency in 2028, because I am running for president, I'm not sure which order will be the first order, the kill pedos order, or the eliminate the ability for people to be in the chosen cult and still be allowed to be in the United States. That's basically the number one goal, is to let them have their their state, their country. We'll ship them all over to bad guy land, and they can all live out their fantasy of being in the motherland and blah 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 blah. There'll be no more, other than the plane ticket there, there'll be no help from the United States ever again. No money, no weapons, no support, no you pick a fight and we're going to back you up, none of it. And unfortunately for the Palestinians, I would offer them refuge here. They'd be allowed to come here, and we'd put them up for however long it takes for them to get their land back, which I don't think it would take that long. I think as soon as the threat from the United States wasn't there anymore, there would be a lot more interference. And of course, you don't have to leave. If you're willing to denounce the cult and say, you're here for all of us, we're all equal, no more goyim bullshit, then you're more than welcome to stay. I'd love to hear your perspective and all that stuff. I don't know how many of you watch Soft White Underbelly, with that guy Mark. I think his name Mark. And he's the guy that introduced the world to the Whitakers, the inbred family out of Kentucky, or wherever the fuck they're from. But he did an interview with a girl who grew up in a Hasidic community. Hang on a second. new song about to drop. It's pretty good. Haven't been able to get the vocals quite right yet, so tried again this morning. We'll see how those turn out. But the video is going to be awesome. The groove is really awesome. So I just got to get my part right. The last vocals just didn't work. They didn't blend right, so I don't know what I did wrong. But anyway, go get your free download. www.the-bilderberg, BILDERBERG-group.com. All we ask is to share it with somebody. It's free. It'll ask you how much you want to pay. You can click 0 and it's free. Or you can donate if you want to. We appreciate that. But you're going to get access to hours and hours and hours of music. Well over 100 songs. So go check that out. Again, all we ask is that you just share it with somebody. It's worth it for us to give you the download if you're going to share it with somebody. Right? I'm also going to leave a link to Hollywoodism, which is the most important film ever made. It's the most important film, video. It's not even a conspiracy theory video, but it turns out to be. It's the movie they made, bragging about how they control Hollywood. They don't say how they created Hollywood, but that they did create Hollywood. And then they ran it with an iron fist through nepotism and coercion and really awful things. And then if you think they just gave it up, you're foolish. But they used Hollywood, as the one woman said, you could say the American dream is the bad guy-ish dream. They used Hollywood to create the America they wanted. Meaning the history, the politics, the entertainment, everything has always been under their control. And they, like I say, they make the video. If I made the video, everybody'd say, those are anti-supremacism tropes. You can't say that. That's anti-supremacism. But they make it. And I highly suggest you watch it. And I'm also going to leave you links to 2 of our newest songs, COVID Sauce and Donald Trump Hates America, the videos that are on Facebook. I encourage you to go watch them. Whoever just did the like, thank you. If you're watching this, like, share, sub. Go to the Facebook page, like, share, sub. If I'm not live there when I'm supposed to be, I'm not live here when I'm supposed to be, I'm live there. Go check it all out. Do something. Help. Do something. Look up the things I look up and come at me with better opposition next time. Do something. But have a great day. And the most important thing I ever say is, because our society sucks so much and we're not allowed to just do it ourselves, do one good thing in your life, pedos, and that's kill yourself. I got it.